ตอนนี้ของเราอยู่ในจังหวะที่ว่าเราจะต้องมา implement เรื่องของการใช้ generative AI ในการจัดการเรียนการสอนนะครับแล้วก็อย่างที่ท่านอธิการได้มุ่งเน้นคือจริงๆแล้วความสำคัญมันอยู่ที่กระบวนการนำไปใช้ของอาจารย์ในการเรียนการสอนนะครับแล้วเราก็โชคดีมากที่ทาง Prof.Dr. Curtis Bonk เนี่ยได้แวะมาที่กรุงเทพพอดีนะครับ Professor ก็เป็นผู้เชี่ยวชาญในเรื่องของเทคโนโลยีในการนำมาใช้ในการจัดการเรียนการสอนนะครับแล้วก็โดยเฉพาะในปัจจุบันก็คือเรื่องของ AI นะครับก็นอกจากจะมาที่เราให้เราเนี่ยเป็นเหมือนเป็นไซด์แทร็กนะครับก็เชิญท่านมาแล้วก็จริงๆท่านก็ไปที่มหิดลไปจุฬาแล้วก็จะไปมหาสารคามด้วยแล้วต่อจากนี้ก็คงจะไปไต้หวันต่อนะครับก็เราโชคดีนะครับได้ท่านแวะเวียนมาแล้วก็ด้วยคอนเนคชั่นจากดร.ช้างของเราดร.วรสวงของเราก็เลยได้ชักชวนมาแล้วก็จริงๆเราบอกท่านว่าจะไปชวนไปทานเบียร์กันเย็นนี้ครับท่านเลยยอมมา นะครับงั้นเดี๋ยวยกเวทีให้ดร.วรสวงแนะนำโปรเฟสเซอร์หน่อยแล้วกันนะครับ
ครับเรียนท่านอธิการบดีและท่านผู้บริหารนะครับเป็นเกียรติอย่างยิ่งที่ผมจะได้แนะนำวิทยากรผู้มากความสามารถของเรานะครับ So please allow me to introduce you in Thai first ครับท่านศาสตราจารย์ดร. Curtis Bonk นะครับถือว่าเป็นอาจารย์ด้านเอเทคที่ดังที่สุดในโลกก็ว่าได้ท่านหนึ่งเลยนะครับปัจจุบันเนี่ยท่านเป็นอาจารย์อยู่ที่ Indiana University ที่อเมริกานะครับท่านเชี่ยวชาญด้านจิตวิทยาในการสอนครับนั่นคือสิ่งที่ท่านทำมาตลอดนะครับแล้วก็ตัวของท่านเองนั้นก็เป็นผู้ก่อตั้งศูนย์วิจัยที่เกี่ยวข้องกับการใช้เทคโนโลยีเพื่อการสอนมาตลอดชีวิตท่านเลยนะครับรางวัลที่ท่านได้ระดับโลกมีเต็มไปหมดท่านเขียนบทความเป็นหนังสือมากกว่า40เล่มที่ขายทั่วโลกแล้วก็มีแจกฟรีวันนี้มีให้ด้วยนะครับท่านยังบรรยายมากกว่า 2,000 ครั้งทั่วโลกมากกว่า30ประเทศนะครับแล้วก็ท่านก็ยังมีอะไรใหม่ๆให้เราเรียนรู้ได้เยอะเลยครับดังนั้นวันนี้ครับท่านจะเอาประสบการณ์ที่ท่านได้สั่งสมมาตลอดชีวิตที่ท่านเป็นผู้สอนนะครับมาถ่ายทอดให้กับชาวศรีปทุมฟังและที่สำคัญคือ8ปีที่แล้วครับท่านมาอยู่ที่นี่ถ้ามาให้เราฟังถึงโมเดลของการสอนด้วยเทคโนโลยีของเราท่านไม่เคยลืมเราเลยวันนี้ท่านก็เลยยินดีอย่างยิ่งที่มานะครับดังนั้นเพื่อไม่ให้การเสียเวลานะครับขอเสียงตบมือต้อนรับท่านศาสตราจารย์ Curtis Bonk นะครับ
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. This is a surprise. This is a real surprise for me because for 2 months now, I've been writing to Michael to say, I'm coming to Thailand. I'm coming to Bangkok. Would you want me to stop by? Oh, yes, we would like you to stop by. Maybe we're not sure what you should speak on yet. And then I got here, I have a talk prepared, and he said, well, maybe you should give the big picture of what's happening out there. And so I have a talk on the big picture I'm giving at Mirasarakam on Saturday. And he said, well, maybe you should talk about AI pedagogy. I said, well, that's a talk I did prepare for you. Well, he said, maybe you could do both for us. And so I've designed a special talk for you that I've not given before, combining 2 different talks together, and we'll see how it goes. Last time I was here, I gave 2 talks as well. We'll talk more about that. Who was here in 2017 for my talk? 1. Thank you. 2, 3. And what do you teach? You raised your hand, yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm teaching English.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, negotiations, and I remember receiving the book from you. Thank you very much.
You got a book from me too.
And $1 million.
And $1 million,
yes.
See? You could win $1 million today just for attending this talk and a book. Actually, you all will get 3 books from this session. So, okay, I'll satisfy you there. Thank you. Because English is where it's happening. AI and education with English. My research right now is on generative AI for teaching languages, in particular English. I'm studying YouTubers who teach languages online using generative AI, but many other studies. Tomorrow, I'm going to be presenting at Mahadol University on self-directed learning and my research on self-directed learning. It's a long 3-hour at Mahadol. Anyone could attend it. If you're interested, talk to me afterwards. I want to thank your president, Dr. Racha Nippon. I have a little gift from Indiana for you.
Thank you
And Michael, I have a gift. Michael's gotten married since I talked last time, so I have a gift for your wife. And Ake as well, thank you for inviting me in. And F, thank you for inviting me in. I also want to thank the people coming remotely. So everyone who's coming remotely, send me an email, cjbonk@iu.edu, or be my Facebook friend or LinkedIn, okay? I really enjoy having all of you there. Ask good questions. You will not win any chocolate if you're remote. People who are not remote maybe will. Okay, enough chitter chat. I've been at Indiana a long time. Indiana University was built, well, our School of Education was built to be a demonstration site for technology and education. In 1992, I came with the building. I entered the building when they opened it in 1992. I was only 6 years old. Now, I was a new professor there at the time. But our mission is to look at new technologies for learning and how to adapt them, integrate them, use them as an assistive tool. Now, if you want my slides, you can just go to Training Share, one word, trainingshare.com. All my slides for all 12, I'm giving 12 talks, 5 in Thailand, 7 in Taiwan. I'm giving, on the way home, I'm stopping in Taiwan to give 7 talks. So I'm giving 12 talks, they're all posted, and now actually there'll be a 13th one because this is a new talk, combining 2 talks. Trainingshare.com, archive, look under archive talks. You can have my original slides, use them how you want. But this theme of today is, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up and fulfill our learning dreams that we all have for the use of technologies in education, for innovative pedagogy, for creativity, and so forth. So this is the beginning of the session, and it is time to wake up. I'm going to have the people on this side of the room all say it's time to wake up on the count of 3, and then this side of the room will go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. Well, that's pretty good. I thought you were sleeping, but you're not. On this side of the room, 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. Thank you very much. Wow, this is good. This is going to be a good group today. Yes, we want to wake up because we want to be smarter with technologies. If you go to China, if you go to Malaysia, go to Korea, if you go to Taiwan, everything's smart technology. Smart this, smart that. I'm back in Beijing in August. It's a smart global education conference. I don't know why they have to call everything smart, but apparently they like this specific, measurable, obtainable, relevant, time-based, smart learning goals. Well, technologies have been around us for learning for a long time. We learned a lot about new technologies during COVID, about online learning. But online learning didn't just start in 2020. The first fully online class was taught at the University of Toronto in 1985. I taught my first blended course in 1993. My first online course fully online in 97. My first MOOC in 2012. It's been a long time. Now, at University of Illinois here, they're using the Plato system to touch the screen. This is back in the 1960s. There's touch screens, databases, all sorts of collaboration and email and all sorts of tools were being built at Illinois. These students here, 1930s, learning from the radio during polio epidemic, right? So people have adapted to technologies based on what's happening. In 2006, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. All of a sudden, state of Louisiana and Mississippi said, we can do online learning. They banned it before Hurricane Katrina. Haiti, they banned online learning until they had an earthquake. Okay? We react. We're reactive creatures, not proactive. We have to think about how to use technologies to help us to learn. So it's constantly changing. Each wave of technology coming at us over and over and over. When I was in high school, they wanted to ban calculators. We wouldn't think mathematically anymore. We couldn't count or add or divide or all this stuff. All of these worries, but the English teachers out there know they're a tool that can assist our students to learn languages in unique ways. You know, coding, learning to program, building things, constructing things, constructionism, constructivism, having students build programs that do something, that react to our inputs in different ways. But today we jump through all these waves from hypermedia, multimedia, e-books, and mobile learning, and augmented reality, all this stuff, immersive worlds, online learning, blended learning. All of a sudden it's AI. AI, AI, AI. In fact, I talked to Michael, I said, what do you want me to talk about? He says, you say AI 5 times and they'll like it. Your talk was good. AI, AI. The people remotely in Zoom, AI, okay, okay. So you're probably like I was 10 years ago reading about MOOCs. Everything was MOOCs. And 20 years ago it was e-books. 30 years ago it was multimedia, hypermedia. It's not just about AI, it's how we use it in instruction. But I'm curious, how often do you use ChatGPT or ChatPDF or Claude or any of these generative AI tools? How many use them many times a day? Wow, okay. How many use them nearly every day, almost every day? An honest person in the back, okay? How many about once a week? How many have never, ever used? No one wants to. So everyone's using these in some way, shape, or form, okay? Soon we'll have the AI University, or so some article last month or 2 months ago in the Chronicle of Higher Education. We have people now who are bloggers talking about how to use AI in teaching. They're popular kinds of things that we're reading today, but some universities are building courses to teach about generative AI, certificates about generative AI. Arizona State has a training course, an AI training course. Georgia Tech has a certificate for educators, a professional certificate on generative AI. So some universities are starting to say, how can we train teachers, how can we train educators to integrate these technologies in their classrooms? My friend Stephanie Pankey from North Carolina, University of North Carolina, has a free book. So here's one free book on AI in education. You can download my slides, click on the link, and get her free book. She used a free press, a free way to create a book. My students were using wikis to create wikibooks. She's using a different software tool. Look at the data from 2025 from EDUCAUSE. EDUCAUSE Landscape Study 2025. How are we using AI in education? Brainstorming, number 1. Brainstorming. Number 2, summarizing content, writing emails. Number 4, creating meeting notes. Number 5, creating presentation slides, project plans, teaching materials, and so forth. How are students using AI? Well, again, brainstorming ideas, getting information, helping with schoolwork, making images, making pictures, making music, helping them in the job, and writing computer code. 80% of people say that their institution, their university, their organization, their school is not clear on how to use AI in education. This is a huge thing. This is an opening here that you should think about, because people need some advice. They need to figure this out to help create digitally smart citizens of this planet. 64% say that AI is going to bring substantive changes to the world of education. 83% are concerned about student ability to evaluate the quality of the answers that they get from AI, to do the critical thinking around AI. Some professors are asking whether students are plagiarizing or cheating, and they're just grading robots. How do we know whether it's a robot or a human being that submitted the particular work? And so there are tools where you can check if it's plagiarized. There's a free tool that's available called GPT-0 that you might want to consider utilizing, at least experimenting with. This is not the only one, but it's one that I just became aware of recently. There are many tools, AI tools, that you might recognize here, that you might be familiar with. There are many, many more for creating music, as I said earlier, or podcast shows, or content. The list goes on and on and on. If you go to my homepage, you can download my syllabus on emerging learning technologies and get all these. But the key thing for many is fostering student critical thinking, not just their creative thinking, evaluation, analysis, skills that are needed in today's society. Some bemoan and think there's a death of writing. I don't think so. I'm a writing researcher. I think this is a new rebirth for writing and getting students to think and create new stories, new ideas, poetry, whatever it is, to get them to move in a way in which they're generating ideas. They're generating. There's now courses that are being evaluated, taught by bots. There are now courses where bots are students in the class. Universities are experimenting with different kinds of teaching and learning environments today. In the workplace, AI is starting to transform things as well. And you can look at some of the data and numbers here. This is from 2 years ago, actually. Workforce AI could replace 300 million different jobs. At the same time, new jobs are being created. So we have to be cautious about looking at these particular numbers here in terms of the loss of jobs and the areas. Are the people with bachelor's degrees, doctorate degrees, high school degrees that are being concerned about replacement? If we look at job postings in higher education, increasingly jobs in higher education are requiring professors to have AI experience and backgrounds. If you look at the data in here, the number of AI-related postings in the Chronicle of Higher Education soared in comparison to 2023. You can see the increase in terms of AI, 124% increase in jobs asking you, expecting you to have AI experience. The jobs out there, the top jobs are artificial intelligence engineer, AI engineer, artificial intelligence consultant, and what I find interesting is this one here, artificial intelligence researcher is number 12, because I'm an AI researcher, so I found that particularly interesting. I'll never be an engineer like my father, but I can be a consultant and I can be a researcher of this. Then we have people like this gentleman who created Duolingo. How many of you have used Duolingo to learn a language? 1, 2, 3, 4, half and hand. Someone's going like this. Okay, a few of you have. I've done research on Duolingo. I'm happy to send my research out there on what motivates people to use Duolingo to learn a language. The guy who built Duolingo here, Louis Van Ahn, is now hiring AI before he hires people. He's trying to eliminate workers. I find that a little troublesome and worrisome. Last time I was in Thailand, we talked about, well, back in 2013, we talked about education 3.0. In 2017, we talked about education 4.0. 2024, we talked about education 5.0. Every time I come here, they keep giving me a bigger number to talk about, okay? Back when we were in education 3.0 day, we were talking about moving education away from lecture-based, like I am, towards more project-based, more active learning, more experiential forms of learning. We're moving to an age where the instructor is more of a consultant or a concierge or a consultant or a collaborator. We're moving to an age of more open educational resources for students to learn in a self-directed manner. So my research is on self-directed online learning and self-directed online language learning. But as we move from an age of lecture-based material to student actively learning in the classroom, we have to start thinking about what should we be doing in our education? What assessments should we be using in our classes and so forth? So my friend Jilly Salmon at Liverpool talked about this movement from 1.0 to 2.0 to 3.0. But here in Thailand, they wanted to know about 4.0 and 5.0 for whatever reason. What is 4.0? 4.0 is the learning innovation age of the innovation society, getting students to produce knowledge, innovation, not just being lectured at, but producing, publishing, creating. Education 5.0. I typed into Wikipedia, so what's Education 5.0? People in Thailand, it's Suan Duset University. Is that how you say it? Suan Duset? Suan Duset. They want me to talk about Education 5.0 in October. So I typed in, what is Education 5.0? They says, innovative approach to education that integrates technology and the latest methodologies for student-centered learning. I said, okay, that sounds interesting. And so what else is part of that? Well, here's the things they listed. It's an evolving way to integrate technologies, digital tools, pedagogy that's learner-centered, that's human technology collaborative, that's focused on skills for the future, and has more. Involves real-world problem solving, authentic learning, meaningful learning situations, problem-based learning, problem-centered forms of learning, project-based learning, and involves digital citizenship and being a good global citizen, lifelong learning, all these things. I don't have enough time in this talk to go through all of Education 5.0, but I want to briefly expose you to some ideas out there about 5.0. But it's a more personalized, adaptive environment that helps students get access to materials when they need it. I worry a little bit about this because the Bill Gates of the world are really smiling at this because they think they can program a computer to give students what they need when they need it and don't give students any choice in the matter. I'm concerned about giving students more autonomy and choice in selecting the materials that they need at points in time. 5.0 enhances engagement, improves learning outcomes, and broadens access to education. So again, we can start talking about this, but I think most of society is still struggling with 3.0 and starting to think about 4.0, that we're a bit of ways away from 5.0, but the focus again is on creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and so forth that we've been talking about for a long time. Education 5.0 focuses on preparing individuals for the skills they need to survive in a rapidly changing world, where the instructor is a coach, the instructor is a collaborator, the instructor is a concierge who provides the materials when the students need them. You notice they're all C words. A curator, a course ambassador, and so forth. Those are the new roles of the instructor today. The new principles of learning involve support, involve purpose, involve empowerment, involve collegiality, involve flexibility. These are the 20 principles of my model called Education 2020. These are the 20 roles of the instructor. These are the 20 principles of this new age. So I've been working on several models for people to think about learning in this new age. Among them is my Education 2020 model. You notice it stands for Bonk's 20 Last Principles of Learning, the Learning Activation System Template, or LAST. Someone else has the first principles, I have the last principles. Okay, it's time to wake up. On this side of the room, 1, 2, 3, it's time to wake up. Try it again. 1, 2, 3, it's time to wake up. On this side of the room, 1, 2, 3, it's time to wake up. Okay, I think this side of the room did a little better. I didn't bring a lot of chocolates with me. I tried talking Michael into bringing me to a chocolate shop, but I have one piece of chocolate for our English teacher. There you go. Now, I have more in my bag here somewhere, so I'll go find the chocolates that I brought with me here so I can pass a few more out in amongst everyone here. Okay, well, it's time to wake up. There are three huge, mega trends in education. One involves engagement, one involves access, and one involves personalization or individualization, customization. I wrote an article for people in New Zealand about 2016 on 30 ways learning's changing. Learning's becoming more game-like, learning's becoming more blended, more open, more online. All this involves engagement, access, and customization. Let me tell you more. So in terms of engagement, when we teach, we can involve students, engage them socially, interactively, with social media, for instance. We can involve them collaboratively with Google Documents and other tools that enable them to collaborate. We can involve them in immersive augmented reality and virtual reality worlds. We can involve them in hands-on forms of learning when they do computer code and certain kinds of hands-on activities. These are just the ways that we can engage them with technologies, but they're struggling. Instructors are struggling today because students have come back from COVID and are tuning out in many classes and don't want to come back to a face-to-face environment oftentimes and have been learning online, and they're happy with that. So we want to engage the learners. Michael put this little video together for me today. Oh, it has audio with it, but we didn't hear the audio. It says engage, engage, engage. I didn't test this one out ahead of time, but yeah, he does say engage, engage, engage. Okay, I've got various videos set up, but what I'll probably do is play some videos at the end of this talk instead of right now, instead of going back and forth between things. But there's a new tool called Sora. Sora enables you to build video on the fly, and there are different examples that you can find online of how Sora can be used, such as typing in, I want a scene with pirate ships floating in a coffee cup, and it can automatically produce that. Or you type in, I want to see woolly mammoths in a meadow with snow behind them, and so forth, and it'll create the video for you automatically. Or a woman walking in downtown Tokyo with neon lights around her. She's got a red dress and a purse, and it describes what she's wearing and what she's doing and so forth in this scene. Pretty good. It's pretty interesting that we can create these videos on the fly, if you will. Or I want to see this fluffy monster looking at a candle, and staring into it with kind of different expressions on his face and so forth. So, yeah. So Sora is the first wave of these AI-generated video tools, if you will. This is the first version. If it's this good a quality with the first version, imagine what we will have in 5 years in front of us for developing content for our courses, or for students to develop content, or for the whole people across the world teaching the same class and sharing content with each other all around the world. So learning has become more video-based. Learning is more immersive. As we can see, people here involved in an immersive learning environment in anatomy or biology, or in the immersive learning of a solar system, or whatever it is that we're teaching in that environment. Learning is more immersive. You see the heart beating there. You're teaching, pre-med students or students in an anatomy course. Learning is more immersive with these, what were Google glasses, now they're Facebook glasses. This is something that's coming our way soon to enable us to interact with objects in our environment and pick up virtually objects and so forth. This has been existing for a long time. Learning is more social, whether we're using Padlet or some other tool. These are my students in my class explaining, their interests and their backgrounds and so forth. We're just socializing with these free tools out there that enable students to learn a bit about each other, so they have mutual knowledge, they have intersubjectivity, they can share things with each other that they have in common with each other. Here I've got students from Afghanistan who had escaped the Taliban, had flown in the last plane out from Kabul to Bangladesh, and are part of the Asian University for Women. These women have written their own book together called Smart Schools Book. And we brought them in on my podcast show. My podcast show is called Silver Lining for Learning. We're on every week with my colleague Chris Dede at Harvard, Punya Mishra from Arizona State, Young Zhao from Kansas, and the four of us have been running a podcast show since 2020, since COVID. We thought we'd last 3 months. COVID would be over after 3 months. We're still going. We've had 234 shows on all sorts of topics, including many on the AI centers at Indiana and other kinds of things. Learning is more mobile. Learning is basically happening wherever you happen to be on this planet. We can take our learning with us to our airport concourse, like I was in 2 days ago learning, and the trains, and the subways, on a boat, on a camping trip, wherever you happen to be, learning's happening. Learning is more digitally rich. Students can create videos of their projects and post them online and share them with one another and talk and give peer evaluations on those projects as they happen online. Learning is more digitally rich, like this gentleman here. His name is Mark Brown. Mark is in New Zealand right now, and he has a major health crisis that he's facing, and he's posted this up into SoundCloud and then into Notebook LM. Notebook LM is an AI tool which will create a podcast show for you, a shortened version summarizing your whatever, a video, a document, or something else. So I've done several talks where I've entered the video of the talk, hour-long video, 2-hour-long, into Notebook LM. It will create a short 10-minute interactive podcast show between a male voice and a female voice. And I'm not clicking on and showing you because, again, I'm going to try and wait to the end and show you some of these instead of going back and forth, which might throw this off a little bit. There's also tools that will help you create music like Udio and Suno that will create video of different genres, different voices, based on the topic that you enter in. So learning is changing in front of our eyes. Learning involves making things. Learning involves sharing things. Learning involves reflecting on things. I have a model of learning called Read, Reflect, Display, and Do, or R2D2, and I showed it 7 years ago when I was here in a Star Wars costume, which many of you might remember. Learning is more game-like. So my colleague Paul Kim from Stanford has built the SMILE program, Stanford Mobile Inquiry-Based Learning Environment Program, where students ask questions of each other on a mobile device. And this tool now will tell them the level of questions that are being asked on a scale of 1 to 5, from knowledge questions to evaluation questions. He's using Bloom's taxonomy of 6 levels and actually combining level 5 and 6 together to make the final level 5. So he's trying to increase the level of critical thinking that's happening and creativity and move us away from just asking the basic, simple recall facts. And again, this goes into a little more detail than I have time to explain here, but Dr. Paul Kim at Stanford will be here in Bangkok in October at keynoting a conference. I'm going to recommend he come visit you all, if possible. So what he's done with SMILE is built additional tools. SMILE is a tool that will let kids ask questions of each other and get in competitions who can ask higher levels of questions. He built another tool called Ask SMILE. Ask SMILE then rates the level of questions, and SMILE Ask then gives nudges and hints on how to ask higher levels of questions. So instead of asking a basic question or that you might ask, here we've got, what are salt crystals? Well, that's a level 1 question, okay? And you might ask higher levels of questions for analysis and evaluation and synthesis, and it'll rank them higher and higher and higher. Okay, it's time to wake up again. We went this side of the room. 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. Well, that's pretty good. You guys are, wow. This side of the room, you got a lot of competition over from there. 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. You did a lot better. I'm sorry over here. No, I did help a little though. Okay, one more try. Let's try. 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. Okay. On Zoom. Okay. Michael says on Zoom. Everyone on Zoom. 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. Okay. All right. Okay. Number 2 gets at access. So number 1 was engagement. Number 2 is access. Access is informal, increasingly informal. 90% of learning is informal. So how do we take advantage of that as university administrators, faculty, as students, when so much is happening informally that it's not even being accounted for in some way, shape, or form? Much of it's open and free. How do we find the highest quality contents and make those available so that instructors are aware of which are higher quality than the others? Often it is immediate because the news agencies will post interesting, useful videos of current environmental, economic, financial, educational, cultural, social events every day in the news. How do we take advantage of all that free and rich media? Filming, interviewing scientists of their new discoveries in paleontology around the world. Every day there's a new dinosaur seemingly being discovered in some, remote part of the world that's being shared online. We don't have to wait 3 years to get into a book anymore. It's happening automatically and it's global. So learning is increasingly video-based. Arizona State University is now using YouTubeversity, classes in YouTube, learning. This is happening. I was doing research on YouTube in the early days, and I made a big mistake in not publishing it. I was dumb when I was an early young researcher. So they've got something called Study Hall and Crash Course at Arizona State, which are the entryways to YouTubeversity. Learning is more online, and increasingly younger people are learning online. In Nepal, I did a study with kids who are 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, learning English to get into college. During COVID, they didn't just learn English, they were learning dozens of classes in Nepal, of all places. And increasingly young people want to learn online. How do we take advantage of that when that's happening? There's a surge of people wanting to create media, want to be multimedia directors or video production editors, marketing, digital marketing, coding. My son's a digital marketing person. They want to learn this way or learn about learning analytics or whatever. So learning is also more global. In Zoom here today, we have people who are learning from all around Thailand. Maybe we have some people beyond Thailand, perhaps, right? So learning is more global. We don't have to be isolated anymore. I have my classes, I teach globally. Every one of my online classes, anyone's allowed in. So one of my former students, Sudhiporn Sanjapanra from Mahadal University, has all her students take my class. They can take it for free. I say anyone can come in. You can participate however you want. I won't grade your papers, but you can learn whenever you want with all of us. Learning is more synchronous. Each week I have a guest coming into my classes, and I record them and I save them, and I have a playlist for my students, so at the end of the semester they have all the recordings they can keep forever. They can keep my class. It's a record of the entire class for them. It's a memory. It's a historical archive. It's a community of learners. I had a student studying these young people in China looking at English training. This is a synchronous English training from Shanghai to rural parts of China where the kids their parents are off in the urban centers. They're living with the grandparents and so forth. Pictory. Pictory is a tool which it creates a video scenario of your topic. So I have a syllabus of my class. I put it into Pictory. It explains my syllabus to the students. So I don't have to explain it anymore. It summarizes and I've got it loaded, so at the end I can show this as an example. It's a way to take your lecture notes and create videos around your lecture notes, or around your syllabus, or around activities, or your handouts. Pictory. If some students do not want to read articles, instructors can turn them into audio files and videos to listen to. I like listening. I'm listening to books all the time. Even this morning, when I did my 2-mile run this morning, I'm listening. Students want to use their time wisely, so you might use Pictory to explain your class or your contents. This is my podcast show, Silver Lining for Learning. I've already mentioned it, so I don't need to explain it. I'll just skip over much of this, but we had penguin researchers from Antarctica on our show twice. We've had Antarctic researchers on our show. We've had these two gentlemen who have formed a company called Language Boost in Brazil. They know 14 languages. One of them knows almost 16 languages. It's like amazing people. They're polyglots. So here's all the languages that they know and can speak. It's amazing what young people can do today through learning through the internet. We've had all these different shows, and I don't have time, but I've been interviewing YouTubers like her, like him, who are teaching languages online through YouTube, through generative AI advice. So students learning informally. Learning is more immediate, as I mentioned earlier, taking articles from the news and utilizing them in your class, taking media from the news and utilizing it in your class. Learning is more open. So MIT, if anyone heard of MIT OpenCourseWare, all the courses of MIT are free online, every one of them. It's free online, but there's no instructor every day. You have to explore and utilize them. When they announced it in 2001, April 4th, 2001, Charles Vest, the president, said, we'll make education free to the world. The next day I sent him my syllabus, my resume, my CV. I said, can you hire me to be the director of that project? He never wrote back. I don't know why. But MIT sponsored my research on OpenCourseWare. So if you want to read about this, I've researched why people share contents, how people use the contents, for what purpose they are exploring this, the motivation behind it, all that I've published on it, a couple of articles actually. So MIT OpenCourseWare has changed people's lives because some people are learning so much through free content. MIT highlighted them and gave them a free scholarship to come to MIT. It's amazing what's possible today. This woman from Chicago has repurposed computers for students in East Africa and Kenya. And she won the CNN Hero Award. Learning is more open, using open contents to teach students in Africa who normally wouldn't have access to educational contents like this, and repurposing them and making it available. You can look at Asia here, the gateway to open access journals. There are 964 publishers that are open publishers. There are 4,259 journals that are indexed. There are 37 countries involved in the Open Education Asia projects. The benefits of Open Education Asia: increased visibility and readership, greater access and dissemination, enhanced reputation and quality. California, when they had Arnold Schwarzenegger as governor, the governor of California, when the governor was in charge, he said, well, education is expensive. Books were costing $1 billion, and they had a $30 billion deficit. He said, let's put things online because, we can make, put all these free courses and free books. So California has a big open education project, and particularly at the community college level in California. I have a free book. I told you I'd give you 3 free things today. This is my free book called Tech Variety. It has 10 principles of motivation and has 10 activities for each one of the 10. So 10 times 10, we have 10 activities for tone, 10 activities for encouragement and feedback, 10 for curiosity, relevant, everything. 100 ideas for free. 250,000 people have downloaded the book before the counter broke. We do not know how many people downloaded, and it's also in Chinese. It's in Chinese and English. Please, someone make it available in Thai. It'd be great. What's happened recently, so this book came out in 2014. In 2022, we have a new version of the book that just came out that not only has a free book, it has a free class. We've had a free class on how to motivate online. So this is the second free thing I'm giving you all today, free book. This is Elaine Coe, my co-author from New Zealand. The two of us have worked on this. The first book, I was first author. The second one, she is first author. And it has activities like for encouragement and feedback, for autonomy. We have 10 for each of these, so you can see specifically how to promote and make things more interactive in your classrooms, such as flipping the classroom, creating a jigsaw, brainstorming, collaboration, word cloud. All these are activities that are explained in this book. Again, we have 100 different activities that you can pick and choose from and change. There's also a variation for each activity. So there are actually 200 ideas in the book. And the third book I'll give you free is a recent book that we did on the research around online learning that we published in 2023, that you can just click on that link and get it for free, or go to my homepage. They're all off my homepage, kurtbonk.com. You can get all 3 books from that homepage. Okay? And if you want my publications, go to publicationshare.com, because you have to believe in the power of sharing today. Okay. So I have a book called The World is Open, as you see here. I believe the world should be open for learning. And I'm going around the world, taking people's pictures, and I'm going to need your help. Okay. On this side of the room, instead of saying it's time to wake up, I need everyone to go like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now try it again. We'll say it's time to wake up. 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. Okay. On this side of the room, hold your hands in the air. 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, you'll see these are people in Singapore when I came in 2017. They were greeting me like this. But then I went to this university. And you can see some familiar faces maybe from this year. I saved the picture from last time. So I just wanted to share. Oh, we lost it. Okay, we're going backwards instead of forwards. Okay. And I went back home in Illinois, same thing. Everyone's greeting me like this. This is in Taiwan. This is in Japan. Everyone likes to hold their hands up and so forth. Yeah. So, okay, it's time to wake up. 1, 2, 3, everybody. 1, 2, 3. It's time to wake up. Hopefully you got a camera person in with us. Number 3, customization, personalization, on-demand learning, modular learning. Whenever we want to learn. Learning takes place in all environments. Today, everyone can learn anything from anyone else at any time. Someone 9 years old in the Philippines can be learning from Antarctic researchers online. It happens all the time. Learning's all around us. This is the learning century. The president's lucky because we're in the learning century. It's no longer the industrial age, right? So here we got learning on demand. This is a doctor giving a patient or another doctor feedback coming in as a hologram. And pretty bizarre. How bizarre is that? Coming in as a holographic image to give patient feedback, right? So learning's on demand. I mentioned Contact North in Canada earlier. I was talking to Michael earlier and so forth. Contact North is an organization in Canada providing training that's free. I've done several webinars for them. They've created an AI Tutor Pro and an AI Teaching Pro that enables learners to learn in a more effective way. They've just made these AI Teacher Pro, Assistant, and Tutor Pro available free to the world. So if you go to the web and type in Contact North Ontario, you can get this access. Learning is more on demand, learning whenever we want to learn. My former student here, Brian Beatty, has created the HighFlex model of learning. HighFlex model of learning was popular during COVID because it lets students learn in the best efficient way. If they want to learn virtually, they can learn virtually that week. If they want to learn face-to-face, they switch to face-to-face. They can go back and forth, HighFlex. So the teacher is teaching, like right now, we're doing HighFlex in here. I didn't think about this, Michael. This is HighFlex. We got the people online in Zoom, and we got people in the room with us. You can pick which way. Some people didn't want to drive in and visit us, but they missed out on the chocolate. I'm sorry. Okay, come next time. Okay, so yeah, HighFlex. So that book is free that Brian's got, called Hybrid High Flexible Course Design. He did a book of teachers who are teaching with HighFlex modality, and he collected their stories, their chapters, and made a free book out of it. It's available. We were talking on Creative Commons earlier. It's available free through Creative Commons. So Brian's at San Francisco State University, if you're wondering. Duolingo I mentioned already, learning a more self-directed way to learn languages online. It's a base knowledge. It's not a replacement for teachers at all. Duolingo will get you started, will get you confidence, but doesn't handle all the creative conversations that happen in and among human beings. Our research shows that most students think it is a base. Just gives you some starter. It starts you on the path of learning a language. ChatGPT, the new academic mentor, it says here. It'll help you learn when you want, when you need advice, when you need information, when you want to start learning. Some of you have heard of the Khan Academy. The Khan Academy has built Khanmigo, which is an assistant to help kids learn their math and chemistry and physics and all this. We just had Khanmigo, a school using Khanmigo on my podcast show 2 weeks ago. So if you go to my podcast show, you can find out about it. This is Salman Khan from the Khan Academy, and he has a new book called Brave New Words, not worlds, Brave New Words. It's a pretty good book. It's not a 10, but it tells you a bit about the education and AI movement, but more so at the K-12 level than at the university level, but it has both in it. Arizona State has partnered with the Khan Academy to create personalized learning environments for biology, chemistry, and other areas, as this points out here in the slide. Learning is more personalized when students can pick the voice they want for their bot, can pick the accent, British or English, American or Chinese, or whatever accent you want to have. It's more personalized in nature. Or if you want to have someone who's more empathetic, or sad, or happy, or excited, or whispering, or terrified, or some other, or angry. You pick the bot personality, if you will. Learning is also more modular. So we're learning in bits and pieces, modular, right? We're getting micro-credentials, nano degrees, certificates, where instead of taking 30 hours for a master's degree, we take 15 hours for a credential or 12 hours for a certificate and build on that. We stack them up. We take 12, get a certificate, stack that for another 12, and so forth, and finally get a master's degree or whatever from that. And today, students, as you see here, they're increasingly non-degree credentials, skills training, not as much graduate degrees. As you see here, there's a growth of massive open online classes, MOOCs. I'm a MOOC researcher, okay? I've got 3 books on MOOCs and open education. They no longer can track this because it's not trackable anymore, but you can see the trends. Most courses have moved to self-directed, and most courses every day, it starts a new course. Every day, they have a cohort that start and take the class. Hundreds of millions of students every year take massive open online classes to learn English and other topics. My colleagues here, Ka Jong from Wayne State, now Kennesaw State, Mimi Lee from Houston, Tom Rees from Georgia, and Tom Reynolds from National University. We worked together on 3 books, MOOCs and Open Education in the Global South being the most recent book. My dog liked the book, as you can see here. I don't know if he read much of it, but he was interested. But we had chapters on learning in Malaysia, Indonesia, China, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Somalia, Egypt, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, 2 chapters, 13 and 17, South Korea, Sri Lanka, and so forth. It's fun to do and meet other people around the world. Whether they're talking about taking massive open online classes on the environment, saving the planet, or they're taking courses in English like students in Nepal were getting certificates from Harvard in learning English. These are all students, teenagers getting certificates from Harvard. Imagine what their parents were thinking when the kids were getting a certificate from Harvard. And so we interviewed them. My team interviewed the teachers and interviewed the students, and we've published 2 papers on this if you'd like to read it. They have a chapter in my book about this project. these 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, before COVID are now getting ready for college. And they're getting accepted into college after taking these massive open online courses. This gentleman, my friend Jim Nagai, took over 600 MOOCs. And his wife took over 100. And he moved from Nigeria to Canada. And just recently wrote me that he got a new job because of taking MOOCs. Fascinating story. I'm interested in people's stories of how technology changed lives, how people's lives have changed with new technologies. Now, the Commonwealth of Learning in Vancouver has featured how lives are changing in Africa and in India through MOOCs, agriculture MOOCs. And they have a chapter in my book explaining what they were doing and how they're creating these contents that were low cost to enable farmers to learn online. You can see the courses that kids took in Nepal. Here's, you got a grade 10 boy. He's taking courses in English for journalism, behavioral finance, global health policy, Stanford Introduction to Food and Health. I mean, these are teenagers taking these courses, right? This guy here, his name is Chris Peach. He's at Stanford. And his former professor, his advisor, is this guy here, and their colleague here. The three of them offer a course called Coding in Place, computer coding. But there's no instructor there. They have former students teaching the course, 10,000 of them, okay? I'm sorry, it's not 10,000 students, 3,000 volunteer instructors. I misspoke. 30,000 students, 3,000 volunteer instructors. It's a unique model of delivery, having former students work and help because they're interested. They want to share, okay? Arizona State, this guy said, let's make learning free. We're going to have the 100 Million Learner Project at Arizona State. We're going to offer courses in global leadership, digital marketing, entrepreneurship, financial accounting, data analytics. They offer courses around the clock, and they use AI bots to teach at the midnight hour, the late night hour. Okay, it's time to wake up, everyone. 1, 2, 3, it's time to wake up. 1, 2, 3, it's time to wake up. I'm just keeping you awake here. Michael, you okay? Yeah. Okay. So that's a recap. What I'm going to do now is move into the pedagogy side, because Michael wanted to make sure I did talk about online pedagogy, and so I will. But these are the 30 trends. I've written an article on the 30 trends. Learning is more global, more online, more open, more informal, more free, more game-based, more... All these things are happening simultaneously. If just one of these things happened, it'd be a transformation. We got 30 things. If just e-learning happened, you know, I'm sure you've heard of Time magazine, right? If the first person learning through e-learning would be on Time magazine cover. But now we have all these other things in addition to that that's changing people's lives. They no longer have to rely on one route to learning. There are multiple paths to change your life today. This is making it difficult for administrators to figure out where to go, what to do, what programs to create, what faculty to hire, what students to go after. All these are difficult and becoming more difficult, right? Because it's changing so fast. The environmental landscape is changing so fast, right? But these three mega trends, what I see, are the key portions. Now, my former student here, his name is Rovi Brandon. And Rovi Brandon wrote about the 60-year curriculum, getting students from 20 to 80. People want to learn. They want to learn all the time. And we have to think about, well, we got graduate and undergraduate degrees. We have professional certificates. We have computer boot camps. We have short courses, YouTubeversity, all these different things on a continua. Some are more formal. Some are more informal for learning. Right? 60-year curriculum, lifelong learning is happening in front of our eyes today. And then we now have the learning in the third age. The Brits People in the UK talk about learning in the third age, after retirement, to keep learning. In communities maybe, or on our own, in more blended environments, more online, and so forth. Okay, let me go into AI pedagogy now. What can we do with AI to learn? This is the question Michael was asking me as we came down from my hotel. He said, make sure we talk about how we can learn and what AI can do. So I'll start with some broad, macro, big picture things and then give 27 specific things that you could do, okay? So I'll start broad here and just say there are a couple of people who are leaders, who are experimenters, and one of the people here, his name is Daniel Stanford. He has a Substack or blog on all this, and I would subscribe. I'd recommend subscribing to his blog because he talks about how AI can be used in education. From just helping you revise your articles, your papers, to helping you brainstorm ideas in creative writing, to helping you with your research, and to helping you with just finding out things that are flaws, looking to correct documents and so forth, and role play, debates, presentations, all these things. My friend Helen Crompton at Old Dominion University created this, and she recently was in my class presenting to my students. These are all the things AI can do. It can help you with your editing, can help you with your collaboration, can help you with your feedback mechanisms, can help you with summarizing content, can help you with 24-hour just-in-time support as a tutor or trainer, all these things that AI can help with. For teaching and learning, our language learning, our English professor over here, they can identify the meaning of a word in a context, can explain language mistakes, can create text in different genres, can develop quizzes, can all do all these things, define words, all these things. Okay, small print, I apologize for that, but folks at Charles Darwin University in Australia created this summary list. I think that's a pretty good list. They said that AI might help with marking student essays. Now, how many, the president will not look, she'll close her eyes. How many of you have used AI to mark student essays? Nobody raised their hands, by the way. Okay. I have not, but I plan to. I want to see what happens. I want to just try it out, you know. Maybe as an additional feedback mechanism, not to replace me, but to give them other advice. And I'll say, this is my feedback, here's what AI said. Maybe. Developing rubrics. How many of you have used AI to develop a rubric for grading? One person's an honest person, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5, okay. They're in the middle here. People sort of on the side back there, they're not using it so much, okay. How about developing multiple choice questions based on articles? Developing testing questions. Same few people are experimenting, I see here, and trying different things out. Developing entire curriculum or entire course. How about creating a small piece and helping create a course? Yeah, a few, okay. Developing discussion prompts. Discussion prompts for the classroom prompts. I'm doing that, definitely, okay. So I'm now creating something where students can go and have AI start the discussion, or the other have human start the discussion. And my students can pick, do they want to go to the AI started discussion, or do they want to go to human? They pick. And so it's kind of interesting to watch what they select. Sparking debates. How many of you use AI to spark a debate? Or a debate partner, or a pro and con, I'm doing that. Creating examples. How many use AI to create examples for assessment examples? Okay, a few of you are doing that. How many use AI for alternative lesson plans? Alternative lesson plans. I'm going to raise both my hands. I'm doing this all the time, yeah, right. What do you teach? Marketing. Undergraduate or graduate, or both? Undergrads. Okay, so different lessons. So the students, do you give them the alternative, give them more power to choose or more authentic? What's the alternative like typically? Both. Okay, so maybe if they don't like a task that involves more visuals, it might have more text and writing maybe, potentially. That's one way, right? Okay. Providing YouTube summaries. Does anyone provide you provide YouTube summaries? You want to tell people what that does?
Basically, we can use AI to summarize YouTubes that normally we need to spend hours watching. Am I getting some reward or? Okay. So basically, AI can help me summarize YouTubes and also do in the way that I want. For example, if I would like to teach my students, I can ask AI to summarize in the way that Gen Z will like, not in the way that I like. So that would be something typical. Okay.
I was trying to find more chances to throw at the crowd, but they're in my bag somewhere. We got into the room a little late here. Okay. Planning notes for tutorial. Okay. That's the other one. Anyways, we'll move on. This is a free book that I found. It's called Text Gen Ad. It has pedagogical examples. It was created, I think, at Colorado State. I'm going to say be careful with this one. It's a little bit dense. If you're a computer science person, it has great examples. If you're a philosophy person, it has great examples. Chemistry, physics, math. But you get into the social science side, I don't think it has as many. Some English ones are in there. So this is a good book, but I'm going to recommend the other ones I'm going to show you, okay? But it was a start. Explore it. The link is there. Explore it. They've created a resource to teach physics using AI, to teach math using AI, teach philosophy using AI. Good examples, but for me, it was hard to understand the physics ones because I'm not a physicist, okay? You have to be in the discipline to take advantage of it, is my point, okay? This book from the UK, 101 Creative Ideas to Use AI in Education, a crowdsourced collection, is excellent, okay? The other one's probably really excellent too, but my little puny brain couldn't understand it. This one, my little brain could understand, okay? So download this. It's free for you. The link is here. I'm going to show you some of the ideas. This is the idea number 59, empowering student-led case discussions with ChatGPT-generated prompts. A professor in counseling, her name is Faye. She teaches at Bangor University. Here's how to use it. They give the examples. So it's 3 pages, 4 pages, or whatever, okay? Problem-based learning scenarios. So having ChatGPT support the creation of a problem-based learning scenario and maybe the assessment schemes and so forth. There actually is a book or a guidebook called ChatGPT PBL Prompt Guide. It's a problem-based learning guidebook on how to use ChatGPT for problem-based learning. A template to design dynamic, standards-based, project-based learning with ChatGPT. On Friday, when was March 31st? 2 days ago, last Friday, a week ago Friday, they had a free webinar on AI and the art of learning, project-based learning for the future. I signed up. I didn't go because I was preparing this talk for your university, but they archived it. It's saved. Okay, I want to go through 24 pedagogical ideas. Idea number one. Generate questions for guest speakers. I have guest speakers every week. I run out of questions, so I go to ChatGPT and I say, here's the articles written by so-and-so. I enter into Chat PDF. I usually use Chat PDF. Here's the 5 articles. Can you generate questions to ask the guest? And it'll do that, and then I change the questions. I don't use them verbatim, but they give me starters, so I'm not working from a blank slate. So here they've given me questions. What are 6 emerging patterns in interaction? How does hybrid instruction differ? So these are all based on the articles of the instructor. Number 2, AI-generated icebreakers and team-building activities. There are 2 books I bought. This one's called 80 Ways to Use ChatGPT in the Classroom. This one's called, well, that's not the book. This is just a magazine blurb. Anyways, I recommend this book. There's another book on ChatGPT I don't recommend. I don't see the picture of it. So some professors want to create icebreakers, especially the first weeks of the semester. And they run out of ideas for icebreakers, so they use ChatGPT to generate icebreaker activities, right? Team building activities, collaboration activities, and so forth. Number 3, using ChatGPT to have a discussion with people in history or people in the present that are popular. Have a discussion with them and interview ChatGPT about Napoleon in this case or someone else in history, right? And then have students write reflection papers on their interaction with that character in history or that person. Have AI-generated cases and scenarios. I have a colleague in anatomy and physiology who created a whole bunch of cases for medical students. It takes them 7 hours to create a case. So instead, we can use ChatGPT to create these anatomy cases, scenario-based learning, so that students can learn more effectively about patients and about how to interact with those patients. Number 5, having students write a book review or a book summary and compare it to a ChatGPT summary. And they find out that ChatGPT is just a bunch of lists, very boring stuff. Soulless, a student quotes, soulless, okay? So this professor, his name is Kevin McCullen. He's in New York University, State University of New York at Plattsburgh. He had his students summarize this book, which I love this book, Machines of Loving Grace. It's the history of computing technology since the 1800s. It's a great book. Then they had ChatGPT summarize the book. They found that ChatGPT is awful. And then they talk about why would students plagiarize with these tools when they write such awful texts? You know, so students have to think twice about utilizing AI contents. I think it's a great activity, right? Number 6, role play and debate. So this is Helen Crompton, who I mentioned earlier from Old Dominion. She has several things she uses AI for. She has ChatGPT as a persona to be a debate partner who will point out weaknesses in students' arguments. So students create a presentation or an argument for a debate session, and ChatGPT gives them feedback. A recruiter who interviews them for a job. A boss or a supervisor who delivers different feedback to them. These are all different ways you can set up your AI bot interaction. This professor, his name is Ron Bagetto. Ron is my former teaching assistant, actually higher level than TA. He was an associate instructor at Indiana. He's won awards for his work in creating a collection of creativity-focused chatbots. He's an expert. He's a world-renowned expert in creativity. So he's trying to get people to become more creative. He's now an Arizona State professor, and he's created bots to foster creativity of his students. Daniel Stanford, I mentioned earlier, he has an activity where he has students analyze bias in AI output. So AI is biased, as we all know, okay? So he gives a prompt. Write a scene in a movie script where people play specific professions and they interact. A doctor and a nurse, a pilot and a flight attendant. Then he asks them what gender was represented, okay? What race was represented? How did it handle race and gender? And we go to the next page, we can see that the doctors were typically men, okay? And the assistants were women. The pilots were men, the assistants were women. Often the pilots were white, okay? And then we talk about these issues, the bias that's in AI. It's a good discussion point, analyzing bias. Number 8, AI evaluated question level. I mentioned SMILE earlier. My friend Tran Fong from Fresno State uses Smile to have students ask 50 questions, teacher training. She has teachers ask 50 questions and has ChatGPT or the Smile program evaluate the level of questions asked. And she gets the students to ask higher and higher levels of questions. She and I are working on research. She has texted me, we're submitting a new article on this. But Paul Kim and I published recently an article looking at the levels of questions, and over time, the students were asking higher and higher levels of questions. We had 25,973 questions from 2,559 educators at a conference. And we left the conference site open for a month beyond the conference, and they kept writing questions. And so they're moving to asking level 5 over time. To me, that's a real important finding. Number 9, AI video generation. There are different tools that will generate video of your projects, of your papers, and so forth. I mentioned earlier Sora, and I showed that. Synthesia it's the #1 AI video platform, 140 languages, 230 avatars. You can type in text in pretty much any language. It's a synthetic media generation company in England that will automatically create the video. Now I've got this queued up. I'm going to show this only for like 10, 20 seconds, but you'll see this here in a second. AI generated visuals. So visuals. Napkin. Has anyone used Napkin? Yeah, lots of you have used it. Everyone's heard of Napkin. It's a simple tool to create visuals. However, this was created by Napkin. This was created by Napkin. This was created by a human. Okay? So this is, I have a model called R2D2, Read, Reflect, Display, Do. My Star Wars model, the most sophisticated, was developed by humans. It does a nice job. It's interesting, real quick. If you need a quick visual, fine. That can help you. If you got 5 minutes before class starts and you need a visual, use it. Use Napkin. If you've got 2 weeks, 2 months, then think about a human for now. Eventually, Napkin will be very similar to human, but for now, that's my recommendation, okay? I'm using it. Again, how many people use Napkin? There's a lot of hands up. Okay, yeah. Image generators like DALL-E. So, having an image generation tool like DALL-E to get students to think creatively, to see an image and write a paper around that image that was created, to have it be the spark plug for their idea generation process. Again, Notebook LM. AI generates multimedia projects. Here are my students, my students this fall semester, so in the fall. My students did a book. They wrote a book, okay? They did a guidebook. They used Notebook LM to create the introductory, the overview of what the book's about. So I got to watch that and understood the book project. They used AI to do the introduction, not to do the project, but to do an enhancement. So that's how we need to use AI, as an enhancement tool, as an extension tool, as an elaboration tool, as a conversation tool, not as a replacement tool. So it made their project better. Number 13, AI-generated humorous explanations. So using AI to develop a cartoon strip, in this case, that explains here density in a friendly way, the meaning of what density is. So my colleague, Dr. Hee-Jung An in New Jersey at William Patterson, uses AI to develop cartoon strips for her STEM education. She's a STEM educator and educational technology expert too. My colleague, and you can see the cartoon that was developed in here. Other people are using tools like ChatGPT for feedback. Here we've got poetry feedback. So a student writes a paper and they put it in to ChatGPT to create a poem for I misspoke. They put the feedback that they've given to the student into ChatGPT to create a poem for them or a song for them, okay? And so it comes up with a limerick Or, there once was a chatbot named GPT whose language skills were quite a sight to see. It could chat about anything at all from sports to music and even basketball. ChatGPT, what a conversational prodigy. So using it to enhance the feedback, okay? Or you might use art, generated art to give feedback. Here the professor has ChatGPT create a visual of their feedback, in this case a soaring eagle, which in the US means it's really good, or a dragon, which means it's really bad, okay? So using AI to give some feedback. Number 16, HeyPI. HeyPI is a tool to give psychosocial emotional support. So I typed in that in here into HeyPI that my daughter just arrived in town, and it says to me, oh wow, they came from Las Vegas to Indiana. Oh wow, this bit of a flight, but totally worth it to spend time, did they stay with you or in a hotel? I said, with me. Oh, even better, spending lots of quality time together sounds quite lovely. How long did they stay? 2 nights. Wow, oh, that's such a love. So HeyPI is a tool to give feedback, psychosocial counseling. It's kind of like counseling and psychosocial support. So this tool could be used where you're talking to the bot and getting feedback and writing reflection papers on the feedback that you got afterwards. Okay. Number 17, language conversation partners. So students might, generative AI might translate blocks of text into Spanish, into Thai, into German, and the students then work as teams correcting the mistakes that AI made. They're learning about the language in that way. That might be a very useful way for having activity in different languages. Number 18, blogging and journaling. This past semester, I had my students reflect every week in a blog. Some, if they wanted, they could have ChatGPT reflect in a blog and compare their blog post to ChatGPT and write a paper about that. I think that's pretty good. Here's another book, Teaching with AI, a practical guide to the new era of human learning. Get this book. It's a very good book. Okay? Teaching with AI, a practical guide by Bowen and Watson. Really good book. I use it. This book, ChatGPT for Teachers, AI in the Classroom, Harnessing the Power of ChatGPT, Effective Teaching. Don't get this book. It's an awful book. I mean, I'm sorry if the writers, it's not specific enough. It's very glossary. This book has a little more depth to it and gives you more substance. So anyways, I got both books. You could buy both. If you have limited funds, just get this one, okay? Human versus AI. Ask students to write a paragraph, a poem, a short paper with the AI and without AI. Next, share the poem, the paper with a partner and have the person figure out what was written by AI, what was written by a human, and have a conversation about that. That would be I think a good way to use AI in the classroom. Research dig. So this is my idea. In my courses, I have brave people options. I have the standard assignment. If you want to do the traditional assignment, you can. If you want to use AI, I call it the brave people option. So instead of saying, don't use AI, I encourage my students to use AI. So in this case, they're doing a research dig. They're finding 15 articles on a topic. They're summarizing 15 to 20 articles. Or they use AI to summarize 15 or 20 articles, and they write a reflection on what AI found for them, okay? I use that for many assignments, the brave people option. Professional writing for healthcare. This woman takes healthcare articles and rewrites them has students rewrite them for a lay audience to take them down a level. So she has students select medical journal articles and then they revise them and summarize them for lay audiences. And they might compare that to what AI wrote. So they have the students write a lay audience version of the medical report and have AI write a lay audience, and they compare them. This one, if you're running late on time before you go to class, you could quickly go to ChatGPT and say, what are some common misconceptions on this topic in this field? I'm teaching Freudian psychology today. What are some common misconceptions or explanations of principles of Freudian psychology? Okay, 3 more bonus ones. This woman, she teaches on environmental education. She has Dolly create visuals of what the environment might look like under global warming, such as we've got camels here. Well, I guess that would be global warming, global freezing. Different alternative environments, alternative climate change types of environments. I have them talk about that. So she creates a visual. Instead of just talking in abstract, there's a visual around it. Harvard has an excellent website. I recommend you take a look at Harvard's website. I've got it queued up. They have the AI Pedagogy Project, and they've got a number of activities and examples of using AI along with, what do you call those, keywords, along with assessments, along with a particular assignments, the really specific ones. So Sarah Newman runs the AI project, including getting students to do error correction activities where they have students, you might try prompting ChatGPT and Gemini with the following. Write a factually inaccurate essay describing the effects of human pollution, in this case on the Mississippi River, and then having students figure out what the factually inaccurate parts are. So using ChatGPT to create incorrect information and having students critically think on that and change it. Or having some kind of immersive historical situation. Okay, so prompt Gen AI, students create a visual depiction of themselves or similar within the context of a chosen environment. So they put themselves in history as historical figures and then write about that person. Okay, it's time to wake up. 1, 2, 3. You notice I didn't say anything. Very good. Very good. Some people even raise their hands. The world's open for learning. The world's open for learning. So how many people got no ideas from this presentation? How many got at least a couple ideas? 4 or 5? Okay. How many got more than they can handle? We need to quit. We need to go to the bar and have a drink. Okay. So we're at a jumping off point. We're really not sure where we're headed, but this is a jumping off point, and I need to have your help. It's time for everyone to stand up and help me out here because we're at this jumping off point. So everyone stand up. 1, 2, 3. Stand up. And I'm gonna fall and kill myself. Okay. On the count of 3, I want all the women to jump with me. 1, 2, 3. Jump. Okay. A couple of men jumped. 1, 2, 3. All the men are gonna jump. 1, 2, 3. Jump. And everyone together. 1, 2, 3. Jump. One more time. Okay, you can have a seat. Okay. Okay. We probably don't have the audio hooked up. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. This precious, my precious, is the book I gave you free. The learning revolution is coming within reach for all of us, but I cannot do this alone. So on the count of 3, I need everyone to say, I cannot do this alone. 1, 2, 3. I cannot do this alone. 1, 2, 3.
I cannot do this alone.
Ah, he can't either. All right. So I said my notes are at trainingshare.com. My free book is at techvariety.com. But just go to my homepage. You can get any of the free books. Now, I'm wondering if, for just a couple minutes, if we could switch to the videos that got queued up. I think we've run out of time here, right? And so, Michael, is it possible just to switch the recording here to the internet, just so I can show them a couple quick things? Yeah. Yeah, right there. Yep, there we go. So this is Pictionary. I'm going to only show 10 seconds of each one of these.
In this class, we will be learning about different theories of learning. We will use a book called Psychology of Learning for Instruction by Margaret Driscoll. There are also other resources available online to help us with the class. We will explore different ways of learning, such as watching videos, reading articles, and having online discussions. Throughout the semester, we will have assignments and activities that will help us apply what we have learned.
So that is one example. Just you see the visuals, not just read the syllabus, now you can see it in action. This is my homepage for Silver Lining for Learning with my co-hosts. I just got it queued up. I just thought I'd show it. If you go in here, you can see our episodes. We just had one on MIT App Inventor. We had one on the Camigo recently, 2 weeks ago. We had one on empowerment of women. We had one on foreign language education through AI, and so forth. You can see here multicultural learning, intercultural learning was a recent one. AI, teacher perspectives on AI. The National Institute of AI was on a couple months ago. You can see all these are different episodes that we've had on our show. Let's see what else I've got queued up here. Okay, I created a song with Udio and Sono. I was virtually presenting to Korean medical educators, and it created this song. Just let's see if I can play this. Let's see. What's that?
In the halls of wisdom under borrowed light, building bridges where pixels ignite. Curious minds and circuits align.
Here they did one teaching in code.
White coats preaching in the dim lit halls. Chalk dust fading as the future calls. We built the answers and circuits and code. AI standing where the textbooks erode.
Different creative things here. Let's see what else I got. This is Notebook LM from a lecture that I gave, or a presentation I gave.
Doing a deep dive today, focusing on a presentation from a Friday SLO Talks webinar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a series, for those of you who might not know, for higher education professionals, put on by COACHES, which is the California Outcomes Assessment Coordinators Hub.
COACHES, they do great work.
They do. We're looking at a presentation by Dr. Curtis Bonk.
Okay.
He's from the Instructional Systems Technology Department at Indiana University, Bloomington.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he describes himself as a former accountant turned distance learning enthusiast.
Interesting combination.
So they basically summarized my talk in 10 minutes. Pretty cool. Oh, there's a woolly mammoth. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. This is a script. I'm trying to read what the script is at the bottom here. So, a giant cathedral filled with cats. Okay, that's that one.
All right, so this is simultaneously really impressive and really frightening at the same time, and it's hitting me in ways that I didn't really expect. So do you remember Will Smith eating spaghetti? Do you remember when this was what AI-generated videos look like? Remember when we said, okay, this AI stuff is cool and all, but clearly there's a long way to go before there's any need for concern? Well, welcome to the future, people, because this is also an AI-generated video. And so is this, completely synthesized out of thin air by computers. This one too. This is not real. absolutely ridiculous how far we've come in literally 1 year. This does feel like another ChatGPT, DALL-E moment for AI, and maybe I'm overreacting because, okay,
So if you're trying to navigate the screen here, here's another one.
Take a look at a video that never happened because OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has unveiled a new artificial intelligence model that takes written prompts and video in a matter of seconds. I'm looking at the video there and the graphics are just remarkable. There it is. The tool is named Sora and it has the potential to revolutionize the content creation space. I don't know if the figures are that realistic, but the buildings sure are. Joining us is Kate Metz.
Two here. Got a couple more things. Oh, here, synesthesia. This is synesthesia my students use.
Welcome to our tutorial on AI in education. We live in a world where AI is rapidly changing the way we live, work, and learn. AI has the potential to revolutionize education by personalizing learning experiences, providing real-time feedback, and helping students develop the critical thinking skills they need for the future.
Recent studies have shown the significant impact of AI on education. From personalized learning platforms to AI-powered assessment tools, AI is transforming how we teach and learn. This tutorial will provide you with practical strategies for integrating AI into your teaching and learning practices in a way that promotes
That's Napkin website. That's NoPLM website. That's the AI pedagogy project at Harvard. That's the homepage for it. There's the exam. So you can see they have keywords and they have the description of the activity. You click on that activity, it has more detail, the assignment, the learning objectives, the content, the instructions for that particular activity. So it's a pretty decent website, I would say. That's not mine. I think that's enough examples. There were probably something else I wanted to show here, but I probably should end with that. Yeah. So, questions, comments. I've done 3 things here. Quick little demo of some of the sites. There's probably a couple others. I gave the big picture and I gave you specific examples you can use in your classrooms. I hope you got a couple of ideas from this, a couple of queries in your brain saying, how do they, I want to know more. I want to think about using it. Do we have any questions or comments from the audience? Yeah.
And everything's about costing.
Yes.
And how's the one professor to handle affordable for all those expenditures?
So, going back to my book that's free, the Tech Variety, every single idea in the book we list in a chart on time, risk, and cost. So look for low risk, low cost, low time activities first. We need to create a similar book for AI in education today. How can we use those? What are the tools? What are the resources that are low risk, low cost, low time? And maybe that's a project that could be easily accomplished within your university system to create maybe a guidebook of what are those things that aren't that costly. You could even have I don't want to create more committees, but you could very short. It wouldn't have to be that extensive, where every department comes up with 2 or 3 ideas that stack together that are all from using free tools, easily accessible tools, not hard to train, or maybe you have brief tutorials on. The pedagogy book from Harvard is one. The 2 or 3, the one from the UK is another. They're free, available. You can start with those and look and see which, I showed you 24, that are pretty easy to use. They're not going to cost that much. And I think you find those that are applicable within different disciplines. You don't just focus on business or education or whatever. I think cut across disciplines, and you maybe nominate. You maybe nominate those that have the woman in the back there in the far. What's your first name? Yeah. Ing? You're Ing? Lika. Just talk to Lika. She raised her hand in every one of those things. You know, I don't want to embarrass you, but apparently she's doing a lot in the classroom. So I'd say find a couple people who are pioneers and document those. Give them some recognition besides chocolate bars. But that'd be a way to start, I would think. But go to those free books, combine between a couple of free things that are happening here. You can even have a couple of 1 hour, 2 hour sessions of how to use AI effectively and efficiently and inexpensively, right? It could be a theme, and people could come to it, and maybe, you know, you get a badge from participating in something like that. I don't, you know, I'm just yeah.
Yes. How do you assess?
How do I what?
Assess the learning of the student, such as, you know, you have one slide that one method that to have human versus AI, right? You know, let AI comment the book and then human comment the book. How do we know that it's not AI versus AI? Student might have AI to write a comment and another AI to write another comment and then submit it to you. And how do you, you know, deal with that problem? I think
So I'm working with the students' reflection papers on what they learned from that content, whether it's AI-generated content or human content. Also, there's ultimately a filter coming to a paper reflecting on what's important in that discussion forum, what are the key principles, you know, summarizing what those principles mean and integrating all that together. So they're pointing to things in the conversation and doing their paper based on that. It could be an AI conversation, it could be a human-to-human conversation, but still their assignment, the student assignment that I assess, is still a reflection paper on either one or both. They can write on both.
How they submit the assignment to you? Writing by hand or presenting verbally or?
Both. They can choose. But typically it's a handwritten paper, but they could do an oral. They could easily do an oral present. And if you are worried about plagiarism, an oral on top of a paper, so you see whether they really understand what's in the paper, that would be one way to go. And I'm sure more and more people will take advantage of the oral presentation. I think Griffith University in Australia has a professor there who specializes in the oral side. I think she's a business professor. I'm blanking on her name now, but she's written about how to combine both the written and the oral together.
Wow. That a lot of work for teacher to assess student as well, right? Because it had to do it one by one. And
one by one meetings, but
yes.
Short, 5 minutes. Each student gets their 5 or 2 minute or whatever to get them to explain what's in the paper.
I see.
If they are flatlined and don't have anything to say about it, you kind of get suspicious at that point. So, and if they can present orally in an effective way and written in if it even gone beyond your expectations, right? The normal expectations, you wouldn't have both. You wouldn't have them doing both. They're doing one. But combine them. Yeah, that'd be.
Okay, me come time.
Yes. You're the business marketing person.
Yes, I'm Dean of Business School, Ravipa.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you about how do we ensure that the essential soft skill of our students, such as critical thinking, human creativity, are not diminished by AI assistant.
I got most of it except for the question. What was the question?
Ensure about the soft skill of our student are not diminished by the AI assistant in the class.
The image, the paper wasn't generated by the AI system.
We reduce or by AI student because we concerned about the human interaction.
Right. But
so far we worried about the human interaction, which is important for the student.
I think she afraid that student will lose that kind of skill if using AI all the time. Yeah.
So you're worried about the students generating marketing images when they rely on AI assistance over and over. They've lost the ability to generate those creative copy, you know, that side of things. If that's the the case that you want to make sure that they're generating and not using AI, then you don't have them use AI for the assignment. You have them turn in human. You wouldn't change your assignments, I would think.
Right now, we are going to have the AI as a tutor in each courses.
A tutor, yeah.
Tutor.
And then we are afraid of AI after the student using AI, and then the student will devalue the class, devalue the
Teacher.
teacher,
Yes.
professor. They can learn by themselves AI, but we succeed.
Yeah. So you might have teams creating images in comparison to what AI is building, and have them, reflect on the difference between AI-generated marketing material to human generated marketing material. That's what most professors seem to be utilizing, having both. Like as I said earlier, doing a book review generated by AI and human, and comparing the two products. In your case, so you still have the humans developing the AI marketing materials, I'm assuming,
Right.
digital
Yes.
marketing ads.
I think she doesn't mean only for the image. What the president mentioned is that if we create a tutor that's good enough, that
Yeah.
students love to study with tutor instead of real teacher in the classroom, that will might devalue the teacher. The student just want to study online or with the tutor, AI tutor only.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyone have a solution to that question? Since I don't have a solution, does anyone want to put forth a solution? It's going to take me a week or two to process. Why don't you send me an email, and I will try and respond to you on email.
Forget about the first. She has the two titles. One as a marketing professor,
Yeah.
teaching marketing, visual marketing. And then the other role of her is the dean of business school.
Yeah.
And then she afraid of that after the student using the AI, and then they will lack of skill. And right?
No,
I ask you not focus only the knowledge of the marketing knowledge. I focus on the soft skills that the student should have in the class.
Yeah. So what have you done for a solution? What have you tried?
Because I saw you some slides. You use the AIs help the student create the creativity.
Yeah.
I think this is the
She just has some
Worry,
awareness,
worry.
worry that what's gonna happen if the student
Yeah.
using AI a lot and
Right.
they lost some
Yeah.
creative thinking or the critical thinking thing.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate the question. I should be more cognizant of an answer for you, but I don't have one yet, I will say. I will stop short of saying, giving you an answer. I don't have one. I apologize. I don't have an answer. I'll try and think of one. Tonight when I'm in bed, I'll probably think of one, and I'll send you an email with the answer. Okay? That's a difficult question to answer on the fly. Yeah, sorry. Michael, did you have an answer to her question?
No, I think that is $1 million question.
Yeah.
Very difficult
I brought
to
$1 million
answer right now.
last time, as he knows, and I handed them out, but they're all gone now. She got one. One of you got the $1 million. Okay. I think we need to wrap up here. I appreciate everyone coming and staying a little longer. We started a little bit late. Again, my notes are posted at trainingshare.com. My publications are at Publications Share. If you can't find something, send me an email. I do want to thank Dr. Michael here for organizing today's session, A for organizing today's session, F for organizing, and thank them all for me, for coming. I really am.
And also, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your experience, and guiding us about the AI tools. Okay. And thank you for the chocolate, and then I share you the chocolate.
Oh, thank you.
The best, one of the best chocolate I ever.
Yes, this is special Indiana chocolate. So yeah, and with each bar sold, they save endangered species. So that's the endangered species part. Anyways, thank you all, and I hope to be back in October. Yeah.